What's up, y'all? This is the 425. I am at Coach Torres _ on Twitter. He is at Coach Miller 06 on Twitter, bringing you Michigan football hot takes. Jeremy, what do you got to say after the ass whooping Michigan handed the Nebraska Cornhuskers last weekend?
I kind of just want to focus on the defense to start off. Really, Nebraska's only real offense was they caught a big pass on DJ Turner where he stumbled as he was backpedaling, and it cost them a huge gain. And then for the rest of the game, it was really only scramble yardage and mesh routes was all they could do to muster any type of offense without Casey Thompson. Not
Yep.
that it would have been any different with Casey Thompson in, but I mean, it's
No.
just Michigan's defense had another dominant performance. Jalen Harrell came back, but he was on a bit of a snap count, just trying to keep him healthy and remain healthy. It, the defense just continues to play really, really well, and they're going to have to continue that for the rest of the year. I didn't look at Harbaugh's press conference today, but I didn't hear anything regarding Mike Morris' injury on whether that was serious or not, which I
No,
don't
I've
think we
heard
can
I've
afford to lose.
I've seen nothing and heard nothing, and no, that's not an injury we can afford to have right now.
No, I mean he's the emotional leader of the defense. We've mentioned it many times on the pod
Mhm.
that you can visibly see he's the defense specifically, but it also carries over to the offense. Like he ignites the fire and gets everybody revved up and playing the way they need to play.
Yeah, and like I brought up to you when it happened, Jeremy and I always FaceTime over the Michigan games together. If you recall, a couple years ago, Chase got rolled up pretty bad against Indiana late in the year, and
Yeah,
it looked a lot worse than Mike's injury there. And I thought that was going to be the end of him, but he came back and was totally fine from here on out. So knocking on wood for Mikey Morris there. The defense. So that was Nebraska's biggest point spread in school history, the biggest underdog they've ever been in their entire history, and Michigan covered it. So with the 34-3 win, you're going to hear a lot of grumbling, as you will, from Michigan fans on anything and everything. Even though I just want to reply to a lot of these people on Twitter, just 10-0. We're 10-0. We're 10-0. Shut
yeah.
up. We're 10-0.
I mean that's the stat that matters the most.
Yeah. And it doesn't look like you may want it to look, but the people who are trying to do these things and are doing them every Saturday, they're all right with how it looks. This
Yeah,
is what they
I mean
want.
this is the preferred game style. I mean, it's always been Harbaugh's preferred game style.
It's been
Is we're gonna,
Michigan's too,
yeah, I mean,
historically.
we're gonna keep punching, and we're gonna keep punching, and at some point you're gonna fold,
Yeah.
and if not, then we'll get you next time.
Yep. And we're not going to beat
That
ourselves. We're going to be more physical than you. We're going to outlast you from start to finish. And we're going to be here on every single snap in all three phases of the game.
Yeah. Now I will say, since we transitioned over to the offense, I will say that in
Did we?
previous pods, I mean, we started talking about the run style, and that's
Yeah, I
it's
guess we've been
transition,
talking about it. Yeah.
transition. Roy Bellamy,
Transition.
transition.
Offense.
uh,
Yeah.
and I've made comments on previous pods that I wasn't worried about the passing game. This week was a little more concerning. Just the only it's not concerning for the reason that it is for casual fans, where they just want to see JJ throw for 300 and Michigan run like a modern spread offense that throws it all over the field.
Yeah.
My main concern is this was the first game where I was like I couldn't tell what their rhyme or reason was on their passing game on what they were trying to accomplish. I mean, the Michigan State game, we touched on it. There, it was trying to get their linebackers. It was trying to get matched up on their linebackers, and change with because their linebackers had struggled with change of direction. But this game, it felt more forced than what I've seen in the past. It was just like let's throw a go route to see if we can hit it. Oh, we didn't hit it. Shucks.
Let's
And
throw another
just,
one.
yeah. And it's just, that's the only thing I really want to touch on is just like, I'm starting to get a little bit concerned because previously I said like, oh, we're saving stuff for later in the year. And maybe that is still the case because God knows that Nebraska wasn't going to beat us even with us running like the most basic things of all basic things. And it could just be a fact of, hey, we need to get better at the deep passing game. Let's take some shots so we can try to get better at the deep passing game.
Yeah, it was definitely. Hey, I told you during the game, like, well, throw another one. We're not going to get better at it by not doing it. So it is to the point of concern, and I completely agree with you. Where it was the first time all year this year where I've looked at scheme and what we're doing on offense and going like, what is that? Why are we doing that? Why did we do that? And again, that's something that is concerning because it feels like we've been building up towards something and potentially having something in the tank, which we touched on last week, where it's not going to be some great thing. It's not going to be these different a different offense or anything like that. It's just going to be a subtle change here or there. And you did get a little bit of it with the Ronnie Bell red zone touchdown. That was new.
Yeah.
That was different. You just
And
want to
the
see,
JJ touchdown run as well. That was
yeah,
something we hadn't seen all year.
quarterback power in the red zone, man. That was, yeah, you would imagine that all of that stuff is in the playbook quarterback run wise because it's literally, we dealt with that at Birch Run where we had running quarterbacks a lot of the time where it's like, okay, we'll just call it a keep. It's the same play
Yeah,
the quarterback's just going to keep now. Like you just add that extra man. You as an offense you get +1, whereas the defense is normally trying to get that extra defender. You add the
yeah,
extra gap offensively. So yeah, that was nice. That was a breath of fresh air. And the Ronnie play, you would expect to see more of those things. And Jim's not ever done anything to let you know that he's not going to progress in that way. So I trust him there, but like you said, it just forcing a couple shots down the field, and maybe it was more of a JJ thing. Maybe they
yeah,
weren't there. I mean, we don't have the all 22 of these games as much as we would like it. So you don't know if that's something he took out of Sharon Moore and Weiss's hands, or if they're just like, hey man, we're gonna hit one of these and we're not gonna stop trying until we do.
yeah. And I mean, that's entirely possible. But I mean, it's just uh, the RPO. Some of the RPO stuff we've seen in previous games. We didn't see very much of it on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
None of the design quarterback scrambles other than the quarterback run. We didn't see that. And like I said, I mean, the coaching staff probably knew like we can have the blandest of offenses, and Nebraska is the only way for Nebraska to beat us is if we beat ourselves and turn the ball over.
Yeah. Yep. And they certainly could have just said, yeah, we'll throw some shit at the wall and then run some
Yeah.
new stuff. Yeah, we only rep this stuff this week, like, and we're gonna run it just because let's see if we can do it. We've been there also. We
And
just
yeah, and I mean
generally don't have the in-game luxury.
we've been on coaching staffs where we knew we were going against an inferior opponent. So what we did was we never told the players, but you kind of work on schemes for your harder game, but you act like it's just going to be in the game plan for this week. So you're just
Mhm.
trying to touch, and maybe there was some of that in practice as well. Obviously, Michigan practices are submarined under Harbaugh, so nobody really gets a look
Yeah.
at that. But other than that, offensively, it was nice to see CJ Stokes regaining some confidence because he had that fumble earlier in the year that cost him a lot of PT the rest of the year.
Cost him a couple
Um,
games. Yeah.
yeah,
No, he ran hard. I think he had 8 carries for 68 yards, and he kind of did what we've known he can do. He just doesn't have a lot of opportunities because he's playing behind a Heisman contending All American and a future probable Heisman contending All American. So yeah, it's a tough hill to climb there, and it looked good though. A couple other things, the that touchdown at the end, Ronnie's very nice play on the sideline where he just inexplicably lost the ball at the 1 yard line was more than likely a touchback from what we saw. You
Yeah.
know, I'm not mad that we got the touchdown out of it because it was so
Yeah.
close. But we were both expecting that one to go the other way, as were a fair amount of Michigan fans. I know Steve Lorenz tweeted, like, yeah, that one's going the other way, folks. It's like, yeah, probably is.
Yeah.
But Jim's time management at the end of the first half was
Oh
about
my
as poor as
God.
I've seen him during his tenure. And he did remark on that at his press conference today. He said it was, I think he apologized for it. I don't remember exactly, but he did atone for it.
Well, we started the drive with like a minute and 43 seconds. And then we hit the pass to Roman Wilson to get us to about midfield. And it just like beyond took our time. Like just it was unfathomable. I didn't understand what we were doing. I mean, you and me were
No,
visibly upset before halftime. We
no,
had
it's
three
terrible.
timeouts and we just refused to use them.
It was really bad. It didn't make any sense. And then yeah, now we ended up what on the freaking 8 yard line, and it's like two timeouts in our pocket, and we got no shot
Yeah.
at the end zone. Like the one thing that I understand Jim's conservative nature, I understand the process that they have in place to win games the way that they are, but we do leave points on the table. We leave too many points on the table.
No,
Is it going
I
to cost
mean,
us something huge? It hasn't yet, but it may. Knock on wood.
I've always been of the belief of you can be conservative, but once you cross the 50-yard line, then it's time to get aggressive. Like now you're in scoring position. It's
Yeah,
like you've got enough time on the field. And after that Roman Wilson first down for like 15 yards or so, like it should have been pedal to the metal, let's go, let's go. And it just was like the complete opposite. And it was just like it was just infuriating at the time, at the moment.
yeah, it was baffling. What else? We had another punt almost get blocked. Brad Robbins seems to be okay, although it looked like he got banged up. He was mad and hurting after he got his plant leg taken out, which for whatever reason didn't draw a 15-yard penalty. But we're 10-0 and just beat the piss out of them, so I'm not going to complain about something silly like that.
Yeah,
The Mike Sainer still and DJ Turner hit on the dude. Who was that? Was that Trey Palmer who jumped over? I don't think it was Trey
yeah,
Palmer. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Whoever tried jumping over Mikey Sainer still, and Mike just put his helmet in the dude's crotch, and then DJ blasted him in the back, and then the dude slammed into the ground, and he got all up all ready to go, like hooting and hollering. I'm like, bro, like we know you're hurting, dog. Like that did not feel good.
yeah. It's like 30 degrees on the field. That field had to feel like concrete.
So we always bring back this 15, 16-year-old reference is super bad here, but that's a play that I've never before seen in my life. I ain't ever seen nothing like that before. A dude tried to hurdle and end up like that, and he got hit like another two. The only thing that would have made it worse is if like Junior Colson would have got a blast in on him before he hit the ground.
Yeah,
It was terrible, man. Yeah, and then I was watching the highlights with Lindsay, and she's like, "Isn't that targeting? Wasn't that targeting what we did?" I'm like, people were saying on Twitter, like, it kind of you did lead with the crown there. It just the rule's not meant to protect a man's unmentionables. It's more for the head and neck area. So yeah, so yeah, man. I was disappointed. It's you and I are big on the uniforms. So I was kind of disappointed to see the all blues versus a team we were favored by 30 over, but I guess Nebraska is a big name.
yeah. I mean, to this point, I mean, it's kind of rhyme or reason on why Jim or whoever picks the uniforms picks them. They probably wear the all blues is because we don't lose in them often. Is
Yeah,
my guess is
once
why they wear them so often.
just
But
Georgia.
yeah, I would like to see. Um, it'd be nice to mix in the traditional uniform, and I've been hammering the table to see Maze Top and blue pants,
Yeah, man, I wanted
and
to.
and
I
maybe
wanted
one
to.
day we'll get that wish, but right now it's not looking likely.
No, I would assume that we will wear the traditionals at home against Illinois next week. So we got the Illini coming to town. on a 2-game skid. They lost to Sparty 2 weeks ago, and then they just dropped one to Purdue. But the bigger story here is Chase Brown left the game in the third quarter with a knee injury, and I haven't heard anything on him. Have you?
Mm-mm, I haven't looked into that injury. I haven't heard anything. If he can play, I'm sure he'll play because he is the backbone of their offense. But it looked really bad watching the game.
Yeah, it looked like your typical a knee injury, and it did not look good. Cody's got an article here. I'm guessing this is from today. Trending in the right direction. But what
So
the
he'll
hell could that
play.
be? Most likely, if he's even banged up, they got nothing going for him though. If that's the case in this game, they would
Yeah,
need him at full strength to complement. They're not gonna have a play action game without him in there. And defensively, we'll see what they can do though. They should test us defensively. They're one of the better units in the country. They have one of the up and coming coordinators in the country, and Ryan Walters. And I'm going to be interested to see what they can do there. But personnel wise,
yeah.
they don't match up with us anywhere.
It may have been it was either Cody Alexander or Space Coyote, one of the two, like a month or so ago. They had a really nice like thread on. They're really creative about post game or post snap getting one of their safeties up in the box to help in the run game. It's
Hmm.
one of they're one of the best in the country at doing it. Like you said, they've got a young up and coming coordinator, and they're still playing really well on that side of the ball. They've got a veteran defensive staff, and I expect um, Bielema to have them ready to go and circle the wagons. And if there was ever a game, it was always going to be Illinois was going to be the one scare at home, I think. And so that's kind of what we're looking at. I know nobody's picking them to win. I saw a guy that you and me like don't really care for all that much, but he can be helpful at times. And Don Thomas like tweeted today that he was like super worried about the Illinois game, and this is the upset game, and that we need to be prepared. And it's true, we do need to be prepared. I'm a bit less worried than I was a month ago or 2 months ago about this game, but at the same time, like I know what they're capable of, and I know Michigan will get their best because Michigan doesn't ever not get anybody's best.
Yeah, I mean they're the best team we'll have played since Penn State. So
Yeah,
they're going to test us. It could be a close game at home. Maryland's the only team that's kept Michigan to within a score this year. Michigan hasn't trailed it for even 1 second in the fourth quarter. And I saw Scott Bell put out the tweet. There's only been 2 drives by opposing teams in the fourth quarter where they've threatened to tie it up. And obviously they haven't. Um, to me, this is not a trap game because they're good. If they had 2 more losses, but like they were feisty, like if they're like a 6-4 right now or a 5-5 even, I'd be like, okay, this is more of a trap game. But like we had to legitimately prepare for them, and
yeah,
I don't see that letdown happening. Now, could they like play really well and we could play really shitty and something could happen? Sure, but I don't necessarily think it would be like we overlooked them and we're looking on to Ohio State. We've been the big change in Michigan's culture that has led them to beat Ohio State last year was, and anybody who's an athletic subscriber needs to go read the Bruce Feldman piece on Biff Poggi and Michigan's coaching staff. But like a couple players were quoted in there saying, Ohio State thinks about beating Michigan every day. Michigan only thinks about beating Ohio State when it's Ohio State week. And obviously that's changed. That's not the case anymore. So
no, not the last 2 years.
yeah, so it's not like we need to cram or oh shit, it's Ohio State next week. We were preparing for Ohio State since last January. So
Yeah,
it's not that panic or like that dump of like, okay, here's everything Ohio State. Like we're ready to go. We're almost ready to go
yeah,
right now for Ohio. We can play them tomorrow, this weekend if we needed to, like I know it's not that big of a gap, but it still just kind of eliminates that let down game doubt that some folks
Yeah,
have.
and I tend to agree with you because they are a good team. But at the same time, just knowing like players can see like they've lost the last two games, and then some of the, I mean, you're a teenager, you can get drawn to the top three matchup
Mm-hmm.
in 2 weeks. I mean, it's definitely possible, but I mean, Jim Harbaugh, from everything we've read in his press conferences, he's making sure they're taking it game by game and making sure that the team is focused on finishing November strong, and hopefully, I don't really care if it's a blowout or not. I just want to get the W, and it's been a really really long time since Michigan's been undefeated since they played Ohio State in any season. 1997 or 2004.
06.
Oh six.
Oh
Yeah.
06. Yeah, I thought about it today
Six.
at work because it's the first time in my adult fandom that like we're at this point. And
Yeah.
obviously we have to take care of business next weekend too. But again, it's new for Ohio State too. It's new for Ryan Day. He's never been in that position. It's new for everyone on that roster. And then you look at Michigan's roster and Blake Corum last year after the game. He's like, I ain't never lost to Ohio State. What you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
like the tables have turned, as Dave Chappelle would say. Um, so I'm not super concerned about the letdown. But as far as getting through this weekend, doesn't need to be a blowout. We need to get healthy. We have Luke Schoonmaker was out last week. I would assume he's going to be out again this week because we need him come Buckeye week.
I'd keep Keegan
Keegan
out
probably the
too.
same thing. Yep, because El Hadi's good, bro. El Hadi's a road grader, man. Like he's gonna be
Yeah.
a dude when he's damn near been a starter all year. Like he's been the sixth man. He's been the first guy off the bench, and
Yeah.
he's gonna be a dude when he starts every day, starts every game. But yeah, I'd keep Keegan out again. If I would like to see Don Ed back again, we don't know what's wrong with these guys, so we can't really speculate too much. Like I don't know if it's something that can be played through. I don't know if it's a tough it out thing or just something that can be worked through. We just don't know. So
Well, someone was listening to like the radio broadcast, and Jason Avant, for those that don't know, is a former Michigan receiver who's a sideline reporter for the radio broadcast. And he said that he went up to Donovan Edwards, and Donovan proclaimed that he was fine. He's like, everything's all good. So, from the
yeah,
sounds of it, it's precautionary, but with Jim, you never really know, as you touched on previous Homer pods, where he's extremely keeps all the injury stuff under wraps. Nobody even knew that Cade McNamara was going in for surgery, or Eric All for that matter, until they
right.
posted about it.
Yeah, and you never hear about this stuff prior. Again,
Yeah.
it came out on Instagram. We learned from the players themselves.
Yeah.
Eric
And I and
Alston's
I
known the
wouldn't
injury
expect
and Cade's as well.
And I wouldn't expect NHG to be back this week either, even though he hasn't played all year. But I mean, if he's going to come back, it'll be for the Ohio State game, and who knows if he will. I mean,
I
at
doubt it.
this
I mean,
point,
they haven't even asked about him in a couple weeks. I haven't heard anyone even bring him up.
yeah. So I mean, it's probably something that media reporters know that he's not, but they're just not going to release it because they don't
Right.
want to get on Harbaugh's bad side.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're there a couple times a week or every freaking day, you're gonna notice and you're gonna know. Okay, he hasn't suited up
Yeah.
once all year. I'm gonna stop asking about the guy. Like
Yeah.
he's not practicing. He's not even close to practicing. And you've speculated like, okay, we're to the point where maybe we'll keep him out for one or two more games extra just so he can play four and keep his red shirt. And we're into that era now, I think. But at this point, yeah, no one's asked about him. He just hasn't been brought up in a long time, and I don't assume
No,
I don't
I
assume
would.
anything, but I don't expect him to be back. And then what Jim did say today that Cade's surgery went well, and obviously he is done for the year. So good chance we've seen Cade McNamara in a Michigan uniform for the last time.
Yeah, and I'll forever be grateful for 2022 or
Yep.
2021. I mean,
Hey,
Yeah, it's unfortunate for him. He's going to go down as a legend. He's a Big Ten championship quarterback, and wish him well. Wish him get healthy. Wish we knew what was wrong with him. A knee injury of some
Yeah.
sort, probably an ACL or something. But he did say that it was like just like Eric All, like he was banged up last year, played through it, elected to not have surgery, and now like here we go, it's popped up again, and now we got to take care of it. So whatever it may be.
Well, he did take a beating early on in the year.
Yeah, he did. He definitely did.
Real quick, I'm just finding like two small things, but for one, I'm gonna share this. Look at what Jim wore to the press conference today. That's my coach, man.
Yeah.
And then this just dropped.
Those forces.
I can't click on it now. But
I think
about
they
an
were
hour ago,
Dunks.
I think
I
they were
don't know.
dunks. Yeah, this was probably to be expected too. But Jim just announced tonight on the Inside Michigan Football Show that Ronnie will not be back next year.
Yeah.
To be expected, though.
Right. Yeah. Ronnie's definitely, he would have been gone after last year had he played all year. I am just seeing real quick from Alejandro Zuniga of 24/7. Michigan Edge Mike Morris provides injury update. He says, I'm feeling great, just a little tweak. I feel like I'll be all right. The trainers are working with me hard every day. I was getting treatment for like 4 hours this morning, so I'll be fine. I'm in great hands. So he says just a little tweak. So we'll see.
If it's just a little tweak, then let's sit him out for the Illinois game.
Yeah, so we'll see you in 2 weeks, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to see you this weekend. Don't need to find that out. We got plenty of edge. Plenty of edge. You got Oki started again for Harrell last week, and you got McGregor and TJ Guy and Derek Moore ready to have a coming out party. So yeah, that ain't no problem.
Taylor Upshaw, yeah,
no
we
problem.
good.
Taylor Upshaw, yep. So yeah, man, we got Illinois coming up next week, and then the game. So I don't know if we'll have anything special planned for the Ohio State game. Most likely not, because we're going to be wrecked all week leading up to it. And after that, it will be championship Saturday, and then we're into draft season. So Jeremy and I are cooking up our draft season schedule. We're trying to figure out the best way to take y'all through the off season and kind of see our process and see what we do. You know, we'll be doing some stuff individually. We'll be having the podcast every week where we're coming together and talking about the guys we're watching and how we feel about this and how we feel about that. So, and again, you can always find us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Patreon, Facebook, wherever there's a social media, there's a 425 page. So just go searching for it. Please give us a like, give us a comment, give us a share. Just do anything that can push traffic in our direction. As I've mentioned before, all roads lead to the Patreon, which will be the draft manual that Jeremy and I publish come April, come draft time. So Jeremy, you got any more Michigan football thoughts? Anything you want to get off your chest?
10-0 is a good feeling. Good teams win, great teams cover. And
Yep.
Michigan covers often. So
yes, they do. So yeah, man, 10-0. 10-0 feels really good. This is Jim's 5th 10-win season.
Yep.
In his 8th year.
For all the Jim Harbaugh haters out there that claim he's been a failure. 5 10-win seasons, that's hard to replicate, and I guarantee that any fan base around the country would willingly take 10 wins 5 out of 8 years.
You can count the ones that wouldn't on one hand.
Yeah,
less than one hand.
And honestly, minus the COVID year, he's won 8 ball games a year. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
8-5 is his worst year, except with the exception of COVID, which is the COVID year. So
yeah, and it just, I mean, people that hate on him can just literally just kick rocks at this point. Because I mean, what can you hate on him now? I mean,
he takes his team on trips. Bad guy, terrible guy, devil, awful football coach. Jim Harbaugh.
He's got Michigan has since his arrival. Michigan's had other than Alabama and Georgia and potentially Clemson, there hasn't been more programs that pump out NFL talent that Michigan has since Harbaugh's been here.
No, I mean they're top 5 in all that stuff, bro, and wins since he's been here, and draft picks, maybe not first round draft picks, but like total draft picks. Like we're top 10 for sure. Probably maybe not top 5, but definitely top 10 in his during his tenure. But yeah, man, 10-0 is a good feeling, and 11-0 will feel even better. So we will catch y'all next week. Appreciate you tuning in to the 425 Homer podcast, and go blue.
Go blue.
Later, guys.
But that's how I am.